NORA er et nasjonalt samarbeid mellom universitetene, Høyskolen og noen forskningsinstitutter i Norge, og vi er vertskap for dette teltet. Og vi har gitt alle partnerne våre en slott, så de kan komme og presentere, og nå er det Kristiania sin tur, så vær så god.
Tusen takk. Kan du høre meg? Ja, så velkommen alle sammen. Jeg snakker ikke så mye norsk nå, så derfor jeg skal moderere denne økten på engelsk. And the rest of my Norwegian can only be used in the supermarket. Sorry for that. So we are very happy today to share with you some of our ongoing discussions and plans at the Kristiania University of Applied Sciences. As you know, Kristiania is a Høyskolen, University of Applied Sciences, downtown in Oslo, also with a small pole in Bergen. And we have started to discuss perhaps to contribute a little bit in this big crusade that started now with AI in Norway, establishing perhaps an AI center at our institute. So I will very shortly present you the overall why and what, and then I will share a discussion with two of my colleagues with more specifics, so to say. About the why, as everybody knows, AI is everywhere. And it's not only everywhere, even the Pope is speaking about AI nowadays. But AI is also every time something new in AI happens, like ChatGPT, it spreads very quickly at a pace that it's very difficult to cope with and understand the challenges and the risks and so on. So for these two reasons, to be everywhere and to spread very fast, we would like to also cope with this within our academy. In the specific context of Norway, as you know, here in Arendal, the six centers that were now awarded by the government we have now 6 AI centers. And very recently, this month, OpenAI opened its first data center in Europe, choosing Norway as the location for it. And that's more or less the why. About the what, I always like to introduce the question, what is modern AI? Emphasizing the adjective, modern, as a scientific discipline. And when I try to introduce this to my students, I always like to use a metaphor from not politics, but from political philosophy. There is a philosopher, Norberto Bobbio, from the second half of the 20th century, and he wrote a book that is called Left and Right. And his intention is about trying to uncover what are the main features that enable us to distinguish between left-wing and right-wing parties. And the take-home message, that's my own interpretation, the take-home message from that book, to put it shortly, is basically saying that left-wing parties try to focus more on what people in society have in common, while right-wing parties try to focus more on what distinguishes people. Now, I will not tell you if I take sides in this opinion, particularly not around so many politicians here. But my afterthought from this is that democracy is only possible when we have these two perspectives. If we take one of these perspectives out, you will lose it in the long run. It is exactly the tension between these competing perspectives that enables us to establish sustainable democracies. Now, why I'm telling this is because nowadays in AI, I think something similar happens. So we had historically AI belonging, so to say, to the more technical people, doing algorithms, informatics, mathematics, physics, and so on. But I think nowadays, exactly because of these two reasons that I told you, because of the broadness and the impact and the quickness that AI spreads in society nowadays, it's no longer possible to develop AI, new AI, without interdisciplinary work between both things. Now, I have introduced here modern AI. What is modern and good AI? Nowadays, if you have followed some of the presentations from the 6 awarded AI centers, there is nowadays a term, trustworthy AI, that coins a little bit what is the intention of AI development nowadays. It's very difficult to define what trustworthiness is, of course, but we can establish a kind of operational definition where we try to break down trustworthiness into different aspects and see how these aspects correlate. Now, you can see here that there is a division of some of the aspects around trustworthiness that are more technical and some others are more social, so to say. But what is interesting is not only that when we break down these into these different aspects, that we cover them one by one, but we also explore the tensions between them. Exactly as I told you in the metaphor from Bobbio between left-wing and right-wing parties. For instance, on the technical side, you could have an algorithm that pretty much explores the performance, how good is an algorithm to predict a certain disease, for instance. But then we need also to explore what kind of satisfaction or the responsibility features that are on the side of the end user or the experts or the laws of that country. And it might be that when you optimize one thing very much, you will lose on the other side. And so to explore exactly where is the optimal balance between the different aspects here is a huge task, of course. I'm not saying that Kristiania will be able to cope with that, perhaps only with a few of them. But this is the aim, more or less, that AI developers nowadays have when they speak about trustworthy AI. Now, from the point of view of the academy, what do we need to develop this kind of modern AI, trustworthy AI, is also a set of different disciplines that, as I told you, cover not only the technical engineering sciences, but also social science, and health sciences, and it goes even beyond to humanities, covering law, arts, including arts, and many other things. Now, some of you may not know that much about Kristiania, but Kristiania, with its own structure, covers already quite a few of these different aspects. So we have basically 4 schools. I am at the School of Economics, Innovation and Technology, perhaps more because of the word technology. That's my background. It's more on the technical side of AI. But we have also the School of Communication, Leadership and Marketing, School of Health Sciences, and School of Arts, Design and Media. And so the ongoing discussion that we have here, and this is a kind of advertisement that we would like to share with you, is that we think that bringing together some of the experts from these different schools, these different branches at Kristiania, we could try to contribute to this new approach in AI development. So this is what we will now discuss together with 2 of my colleagues, Johannes and Sune, that I would invite then to the stage for a few questions to you. Thank you. Yeah. Perhaps I would first ask, I wrote very briefly what my colleagues are, so to say, at Kristiania, but I would like that you take a few words also to introduce yourself. Perhaps starting with you, Sune.
Okay, yes, my name is Synne Tollerud Bull. I am an artist and scholar and a professor of media and film and also a pro-dean of research at School of Art, Design and Media at Kristiania University of Applied Sciences. I have a practice in contemporary art and media and new technology. But I also have a PhD in media and communication from the University of Oslo, so I have this sort of critical writing practice at the same time as I also explore and research through my practice as an artist. And so that is my background.
Thank you. Johannes?
Hello, my name is Johannes Gersted. I'm a professor of medicine and also head of department at School of Health Sciences. So my background is health, not AI. We have at our department many programs, including psychology, biomedicine, which I think is very relevant also for this discussion.
Thank you, Johannes. So there were another panelist that was invited to take part on this, representing also the more technical side. And since there was a last-minute cancellation, I will feel myself the freedom also to intervene on his behalf, so to say, representing the technical side of AI. But I will start then with the first question. And so the first question is that, okay, AI is everywhere. We are basically discussing about our location downtown in Oslo. Why Kristiania? I tried to motivate this a little bit, but you can now go into the specifics. What would be the main motivations for such an AI center downtown, and why Kristiania? What do we have? What do you have in this case? Sina, do you want to start?
Yes, absolutely. That would be great. So yes, we maybe not sure if it's well known, but Kristiania University of Applied Sciences actually has the Norwegian's largest research and education environment for the arts. But not only is it the largest, with over 230 researchers and 1,600 students, it is also a unique combination of different fields of art. So nowhere in Norway do we have a combination of performing arts, design, music, and film and digital media. And this is, of course, a unique opportunity, because also we have film, we have art, and it spreads. We have some art education in Oslo downtown, but we don't have creative industries in terms of film and digital media. And we are then uniquely positioned to offer these types of facilities, infrastructures, research possibilities in the hub where these creative industries are located. So that is one big advantage. And of course, we also know that creativity is at the forefront of AI. It is, as we heard in the previous panel, it are those jobs that are now being challenged in the creative industries. And actually, we do want to have a robot that takes our dishes and that does the boring work, housework, and so forth. But we don't really want to sort of take the creative work away. So we feel in these industries that we are severely challenged, and there is a scraping of the intellectual property rights. And as we've seen from Hollywood and others, there are striking examples of lawsuits coming regarding this. So it is the sort of development of AI right now is using creativity to legitimize its development, and the creative industries are then uniquely positioned to be in the forefront of shaping that development as well.
Before going to Johannes, perhaps, Sune is a kind of star at Kristiania. Sorry if I may say that. She is co-leading one of the work packages in one of the AI centers. I'm not sure if you took part of, you attended the panel this morning, but would you like to add something on this? You were speaking about arts and creativity.
Yes, I think it's really great that Mishmash Center for AI and Creativity was one of the centers that came to be receiving funding. And I am a co-leader of a work package there that focuses on the art and creativity production. And we have a sort of a really interesting interdisciplinary setup there. But I think now in this context that we are speaking today, I think that sort of funding opportunity that we got there propelled an extra energy for Kristiania to really think beyond Mishmash, to also see, well, actually, we have a real advanced research environment in information technology. We have health sciences, we have communication, we have leadership. we have law, and we have so many important fields that we can actually forefront in a more collaborative across different disciplines downtown Oslo. And this would be facilities that would offer collaborative efforts to all other interested parties as well.
Thank you. Johannes, from Health Sciences side.
Well, I also think we need more AI because it's relevant for us as well. Right now, I think we have a new situation with an overwhelming volume of information, but also an overwhelming volume of human sensitive data. Data that are important, of course. And because of this volume, I think we need a new approach. I'm thinking about data from social media and apps. We're using these mobile phones all day long, and there's a lot of data here that tells us a lot about our behavior, and it could also be related to mental health and diseases, of course. Now we have what I would say an ocean of data. We're not capable of using that volume of data today. So therefore we need a new approach. For example, machine learning and AI. We need to cope with big data. We need to be able to collect data, process data, and that is very, very challenging, of course. So why a center at Oslo, at Kristiania in Oslo? Well, I think, as you said, we have a mix of people. We have people with a background in design and media, but also people with background in psychology and medicine, of course, and health sciences, which could come together and make something that I guess will be unique because we combine these. What you know and what we know, and we combine this knowledge in a new way.
Yes, thank you. So one of the things that perhaps I could add is that Kristiania as a Høyskole is pretty much focused on in applications. It's not about basic science, so to say, but in the context of Trustworthy AI, for instance, these different aspects that I was speaking about, nowadays is still somehow unclear. If we look at, for instance, the European AI Act, it's still unclear how many of these things will be in practice implemented. For instance, when we discuss about the different aspects of trustworthiness, it's very nice to say, okay, this algorithm is robust and it's transparent or it has a high performance. But the other question is, how can we assess that in the sense that if we have two algorithms that solve exactly the same problem, but they are different, how can we say that this algorithm is more robust than this one? What kind of metrics, what kind of frameworks for assessment do we have to address these different aspects of trustworthiness? This is something that is open in research. It's pretty much applied research, of course, but includes also some of the technical expertise on our side. I'm trying to sell the fish from my school at Kristiania, so to say. But okay, we can go now specifically to the taking now this input to the question about the specific school. So Trustworthy AI, as I was saying, is already not that new. In fact, at least 2 of the 6 new AI centers are pretty much focused on that. One of the UIO centers and the one from Simula, if I'm not mistaken. So the idea here is what kind of challenges and opportunities do you see among our different schools at Kristiania to use as a kind of booster for AI development there? Should I start again with Sina? Please.
Yes. Well, actually, it would a center such as this would, of course, boost a number of collaborative efforts also for education, but also I think increasingly our industries needs to be more research oriented. So a tighter collaboration between the industry and work life and research, where actually we could sort of model on other industries that have more research as a base for their development, where we could be test beds and we could involve both students and research faculty into testing and developing things for the sort of work-life implementation. So this is the type of model that we don't see too much today, but that could be definitely increasing. I mean, NRK has scaled down its research labs, but I think it now needs to maybe collaborate with higher education to scale it up again. And we have a huge need for infrastructure in those areas. It's also opportunity to cross now boundaries between art and health and technology, obviously. And to see today, for example, that one of the largest uses of large language models like ChatGPT today is for therapy. So, you know, already people use it really for their mentor or their friend or something. And so there's a large, of course, need to figure out what it is, what this particular technology does with us as creative humans, what will it be to be a human in the environments with such technologies. And there is where the arts as a very important collaborator.
Okay, so Sune is speaking about therapy. You for sure want to say something about it.
Yeah, certainly AI can be used for our common good, also in the clinic. Ethical decision-making is a part of our profession in medicine and psychology. You know, there is some laws here that could be problematic. You all know that the general data protection regulations are quite strict, and in particular when it comes to the most interesting clinical data, they're very sensitive data as well. So we could have a challenge there, but that's exactly why we need this center, to address that as well. Because, as I said, all the time we are collecting data. Now, these days, we have, for example, therapy of children for anxiety. It's working. And then we are collecting data. But, of course, that kind of data can be misused, which means that we have a job to do there. It could be a little bit problematic in research, even more problematic in the clinic, I think. Yes, we can use this. We can use machine learning as well. If you like to collect data, for example, from your mobile phones and look for or search for changes related to reduced cognitive function, early signs or of dementia, for example. These data are valuable for us as scientists, but very sensitive. Of course, you don't want these data to be misused by someone. So I think we have a job to do. And I don't have all the answers here. It's, you know, it's really hard to get the approval you need. And it could also be difficult to get data from these mobile phones or computers into a safe database. It's a time window there that might be very, very critical, I think. Yeah.
I think perhaps from my side, perhaps belonging to the technological part, I think because of the very deep interdisciplinarity that AI nowadays demands, I think an AI center is really something very important for an academy in general, for Kristiania as well, because of the way we structure. Usually we have academy structure as a set of different schools that are not necessarily working together in something. So I see, I'm new at Kristiania, so I don't know the institutions that well, but I think an AI center could not play also a role in bridging the different schools within the, or faculties within the academy. The word downtown was perhaps still not mentioned here, but I think Kristiania has also a quite nice niche in the sense that being so central, there are some activities, dissemination activities that could be done for the general public. In fact, we are planning some things that I'm not allowed to tell now, but that makes Kristiania perhaps to contribute also in the part of the dissemination. This is perhaps what I would like to add. Finally, the last question. What do we need at Kristiania? What will be the challenges? We were counting here to have people from already leading AI labs and centers in other academies. It was not possible, but what is, in your opinion, Sune, what should we carefully consider when establishing this center?
Well, one thing is that it's going to be increasingly challenging to collaborate when we continue to expand our interdisciplinary reach. Words don't mean the same in different fields and so forth, so we have to be careful to find ways to collaborate that makes sense. And that is also in itself a very useful exercise and something to be very good at, because that is something that is going to be needed more and more. So yes, definitely competence in interdisciplinary collaboration. We need probably to expand some infrastructure, both physical and also in terms of capital to recruitment, financial contributions. And I think we also need important collaborators. So that would be something to think about, how to go about those things.
External partners.
Yes.
Yeah. Johannes?
Well, yeah, I think we need AI also in our educational programs, and that is also a challenge. But I think we can do it. I think we can make it. For example, now we're planning a new master program in psychology, health, and technology, where at least we have one course with AI. And I think AI should be integrated in most programs, at least many programs in the future. And that is, of course, a challenge, but it's doable, absolutely. Next, when it comes to other challenges, it is, of course, handling of sensitive information. I think for us that is the most problematic. We spend a lot of time thinking of that kind of problems. Yeah. So we need a platform, perhaps a platform which is safe for everyone, because we want to use this new technology, including machine learning, for our common good, and we know that the same information can be misused in the wrong hands.
This somehow perhaps intersects a bit what Sune was saying about the infrastructure and financial things. Yes, so this was the last question. Perhaps what I would like to add is that we were, I was telling about Kristiania being in such a central location in Oslo. That's true, but it's also true that we are not the only academy with this. So we have close to us, we have Simula, we have OsloMet, and they have already some ongoing AI activities with the AI lab and so on. I think perhaps we could also profit, and we are doing contacts in that direction to merge synergies and try to cooperate in that respect. So it was a short panel. This is more or less what we wanted to share with you. We have still time to open for discussion or questions that you might have. Tusen takk. Yes.
Hi. I am curious about what you said, Sina, about the interdisciplinary collaboration. Have the three of you started thinking about how to do that in practice? Because you said that we need to translate concepts and sort of that's sort of the conceptual work, but there also has to be a practical work. Any ideas there yet?
I am very inspired by Alexander Refsum Jensenius, who is the leader of Mishmash, because he has for a long time also been leading Ritmo, which is a center for rhythm, and it's a collaboration between music and psychology. And he has developed a lot of, the center developed different tools to collaborate across disciplines and how to be interdisciplinary, and there are different ways that you can work very closely together or more sort of within your field, but then have some common interest and so forth. So I think, yeah, we are actually, this is quite a new installation, and we are just, there's a lot of will. And then we are definitely going to come up with ways of trying to map out these different things. But I think it is something that is very needed, and it is more of a problem than we think, because actually I also have like about 5 months of experience being prod in a research, and every week I sit in the research leader network, and there I have prod-ins from the other faculty and the other schools, from health sciences, from leader management and communication, and from School of Art, Design and Media, and from SITE, from technology, information technology. And we all think very differently, and we say things that that is read differently when we come across. And there is a tradition in the health sciences to have a PhD that is barely doing any thinking of its own, but just is a part of a team that the professor is always a co-writer, which is completely a different way of thinking about a PhD in the arts, where the PhD is completely on its own, and maybe have some more or less successful tutoring at some instances along the way. So, you know, that's just one example of how widely different our fields are, and those 5 months really opened my eyes to how seriously you have to take this different, because we in the arts we like to say, oh yeah, artistic research is different, and then there's normal science over here, and then artistic research is over here, and we have all these other ways of working. We're practice-based, but art is also hard to define, because what art is more interesting what it can be. We don't want to define it, and there again is another way of thinking. You don't want to nail things down. You want to have all these questions just being up in the air. You know, it's a very different way of thinking about knowledge in the arts. So we feel like we're very different, but then after these 5 months, I see all the fields have their very specific ways of thinking. So yeah, that is something that we really have to address fast. And it's something that is very current, and one of the main reasons why we need now to establish this center.
But perhaps we have also more than will. So soon, in fact, you are submitting a few things on Friday, right? Yes. Already between arts and technology. Also from experience, so we are trying, exactly as Sune was saying, to force this interdisciplinarity, where we have experts from different schools submitting for internal calls in Kristiania, and also sharing, for instance, master thesis projects and PhD projects. I think it's a way to build it bottom up, to establish new practice in research. That's the only way to develop interdisciplinarity. We need to learn the language on the other side and have a common ground. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think there is a long tradition of art and technology collaboration, but it's very much longer over to the health sciences, I feel sometimes. It's very far away.
Yeah, you're right. We don't speak the same language, and we don't have the same tradition. And we understand the word research differently. And when I'm talking about collecting data, I'm talking about numbers, or it could be videos and pictures, but in general, we convert that to numbers, and we use statistics, etc., etc.
And you also get in panic because of all the bureaucracy, right? It's something that in art you don't have so much.
Yeah, when it comes to the writing, it's very different as well. Yeah. A number of co-authors, for example, and how we work together. When I publish my papers, it's together with 5, 6, 7 other people. The first one is my master student or my PhD student, and so on. And then I have a few colleagues in the middle, and then I'm the last author. Very different tradition.
Yes.
And I think, of course, as we said earlier on the panel this morning, that artists have a tendency to also take technology and use it in completely different ways than it was intended. And that is something that is very useful, it's very creative, and it sort of shows and displays other sides of the technological innovation that wasn't intended, but that always is there. So that can also be picked up as a kind of accelerator for an initiator for other projects to come along. And also, of course, critically showing some of the more critical sides of how it operates.
Other questions or comments or critics? Okay, if not, then you are the first ones hearing about this Kai Center. You will hear more about it soon. Thank you very much.